Carl Jung once wrote, "People don't have ideas. Ideas have people." The same can be said of desire. We think we choose what we want, but often it is desire itself that chooses us. Nowhere is this more visible than in the strange, haunting pattern of attraction. People desire you fiercely until they have you. Then the fire dims, the obsession fades, and you are left wondering why what felt eternal collapsed so quickly. At first, it feels intoxicating. Someone wants you with an intensity that shakes your world. Their eyes light up when you walk in. Every message feels urgent, every touch electric. They can't stop thinking about you, and they make you feel like you are the missing piece of their life. You are not just desired, you are devoured. And then, once they finally have you, once you are theirs, the intensity dies. They no longer chase. They no longer hunger. The very thing that made you feel alive disappears. Why does this happen? Jung would tell us, because desire has little to do with you, and everything to do with the unconscious. The shadow's trap. Jung taught that the unconscious projects itself onto others. We don't fall in love with people. We fall in love with the parts of ourselves we see in them. In the beginning, the one who desires you projects all their hunger, their longing, their unclaimed shadow onto you. You become their mirror. You hold their missing piece. This is why their desire burns so hot at the start. It is not about your reality. It is about their fantasy. They don't see you as you are. They see you as the answer to their emptiness. They desire you until they believe they own you, until the fantasy feels secured. And then the projection collapses. Once the unconscious realizes it cannot actually fill its void through you, it grows restless. Desire dies, not because you changed, but because the shadow never wanted you. It wanted what it projected onto you, desire and the illusion of wholeness. Why is desire so intense before possession? Jung believed it was because desire is really the pursuit of wholeness. The unconscious feels incomplete, broken, hungry. When it meets someone new, it believes, "This person will complete me." That illusion creates obsession. Think of how people speak in the beginning of attraction. "I can't live without you." "You're all I think about." "You're perfect." These are not expressions of reality. They are cries of incompleteness. The fire of desire is fueled by the illusion of wholeness. But here lies the trap. Once possession happens, once you are theirs, the illusion fades. They realize you are human, not fantasy. And the unconscious, still restless, begins its search again. This is why some people are addicted to the chase. They need the fire of longing more than the reality of intimacy. The archetype of the hunt Jung would connect this to the archetype of the hunter. In mythology, the hunt is not about the animal itself. It is about the pursuit, the thrill, the conquest. Desire works the same way. For many, The fire exists only in the hunt. Once the prey is caught, the archetype collapses, and boredom sets in. This is why some people lose interest once they know you're committed, available, or secure. They don't actually want you. They want the feeling of chasing you. They desire you until you're theirs. Then the archetype of the hunt demands a new target. Why it hurts so deeply. When this happens to you, it cuts to the core. You thought their passion was proof of love. You thought their obsession meant you were special. And in a way, you were, but not for the reasons you believed. You were special because you carried their projection. You embodied their missing piece. But once they secured you, the projection dissolved, and they were left face to face with reality. And reality cannot compete with fantasy. Jung would say this pain is part of the individuation process. It forces you to confront a bitter truth. People's desire is not always about you. Often, it is about them, their shadow, their wounds, their hunger. And once you realize this, you stop confusing desire with love. Desire's short life. So why do people desire you until you're theirs? Because desire, by its nature, is restless. It feeds on absence, on distance, on longing. Once it gets what it wants, the absence is gone, the hunger satisfied, temporarily. And so the fire dies. This is why forbidden love feels so intense. This is why relationships start with obsession, but settle into routine. This is why the people who once couldn't live without you can suddenly live just fine without you. Desire thrives in distance and dies in possession. Jung's warning. Jung warned us not to mistake desire for love. Desire says, I need you to feel whole. Love says, I am whole, and I choose you. When someone desires you until you're theirs, they are not loving you. They are using you to complete their unconscious projection. And when that projection fades, so does their fire. The key, Jung would say, is awareness. To see desire for what it is. A fire that burns bright but fast. A hunger that is more about the shadow than the soul. If you mistake it for love, you will always feel abandoned once the fire dies. Jung believed the psyche is ruled not only by what we know, but by what we refuse to see. Desire is one of those forces. It burns with intensity, but it carries the seeds of its own destruction. To understand why people desire you until you are theirs, and then lose the fire, we must look at how the unconscious sabotages intimacy. The unconscious loves distance. Desire thrives in distance. When someone does not yet have you, their imagination fills in the gaps. They project all their ideals, fantasies, and missing parts onto you. Every glance, every word, every silence feels electrified because the unconscious is alive with projection. But once closeness arrives, once intimacy grows, the projection begins to fade. Suddenly, you are not just the glowing symbol of their hunger. You are a human being with flaws, moods, limits. And the unconscious, which fed on distance and mystery, grows restless. This is why early love feels like fire, but long-term intimacy requires more than desire. Desire collapses under the weight of reality. Love, Jung would say, must grow from integration, not projection. The shadow sabotages intimacy. Jung's concept of the shadow explains why passion often dies after possession. The shadow is everything in us that we repress: our fears, our hunger, our aggression, our shame. When someone desires you, they project their shadow onto you. You carry what they lack. But here's the danger. Once they possess you, the shadow doesn't vanish. It reappears within them. They may feel restless, trapped, even resentful, because the very qualities they projected onto you are still unresolved inside themselves. The fire that once burned outward now collapses inward, leaving them dissatisfied. This is why relationships often move from obsession to blame. The person who once adored you begins to criticize, withdraw, or search elsewhere. It is not that you changed. It is that their shadow caught up with them. Why the chase matters more than the catch. There is a reason so many people are addicted to the chase. The chase keeps desire alive. As long as there is distance, the unconscious can project endlessly. The moment possession happens, the unconscious grows bored. Jung would say this is tied to the archetype of the hunter. The hunt is thrilling, not because of the prey itself, but because of the pursuit. Once the prey is caught, the purpose dissolves. Many people are unconsciously ruled by this archetype. They crave the adrenaline of wanting, not the reality of having. This is why some people vanish after intimacy. They pursued you with intensity, but once they got what they wanted, their unconscious moved on to the next target. The chase mattered more than you. Desire versus love. Jung drew a sharp distinction between desire and love. Desire says, I need you to complete me. Love says, I am complete, and I choose you. When someone desires you until you are theirs, it is usually desire, not love, driving them. They are not seeing you. They are seeing the missing parts of themselves reflected in you. And once the illusion of completion fades, so does the fire. Love, on the other hand, requires integration. It demands that both people face their shadows, own their wounds, and bring their whole selves into the relationship. Love can survive possession because it was never about fantasy. It was about reality. The archetype of the lover. Jung's archetype of the lover offers a deeper clue. The lover archetype seeks union, passion, transcendence. But when undeveloped, the lover becomes restless, compulsive, addicted to intensity. This immature lover burns with fire before possession, then collapses in boredom afterward. But when the lover archetype matures, it becomes capable of depth. It does not just seek the fire of beginning. It seeks the fire that deepens through intimacy, vulnerability, and time. The tragedy is that most people never mature the lover archetype. They live forever chasing beginnings, never building something lasting. The illusion of forever fire. Another reason people lose interest once they have you is because society has sold us a lie that passion should last forever, untouched, unbroken. When the fire fades, people panic. They think something is wrong. They think they chose the wrong partner. But Jung would say, fire was never meant to last unchanged. Desire is a spark. It begins the connection. But what sustains it is not endless fire. It is transformation. If two people grow together, face their shadows, and integrate, the fire evolves into something deeper. Intimacy, trust, devotion. But if they expect desire alone to carry them, it will always collapse. Carl Jung warned us that if you do not face your shadow, it will rule your life. The same applies to desire. When people desire you only until they possess you, it is because they are trapped in projection. They are not loving you. They are loving the parts of themselves they see reflected in you. The only way to break this cycle is to move from projection to integration, from desire to love. Projection versus reality. Projection is the unconscious mind painting its hunger onto someone else. In the beginning of a relationship, this is inevitable. Everyone projects. You see in another person not only who they are, but who you need them to be. The problem arises when people never move beyond projection. They cling to the fantasy, and when reality emerges, they feel betrayed. Jung explained this as the collapse of the idealized image. What was once seen as the one becomes ordinary, flawed, human. And instead of deepening into intimacy, people abandon the relationship and chase a new projection. Real love begins when projection ends. When you no longer see someone as your savior, your missing piece, your fantasy, but as a whole human being. That shift requires maturity. Without it, desire will always fade. Individuation and attraction. Jung's central concept of individuation, the process of becoming whole, is also the key to transcending the trap of fleeting desire. Most people approach relationships as incomplete beings. They seek partners to fill their wounds, to silence their loneliness, to validate their worth. This is why desire burns so hot at first. The unconscious believes it has found completion. But Jung would remind us, no partner can complete you. Only individuation, facing your shadow, integrating your wounds, owning your truth, can make you whole. When you individuate, you no longer seek someone to complete you. You choose someone to walk beside you. And this choice creates a foundation for lasting love. Recognizing projection in others. If you want to protect yourself from being desired only until you're possessed, you must learn to recognize projection. Jung taught us to look for the signs. Excessive idealization. When someone calls you perfect, the one, or acts as if you have no flaws, They are not seeing you. They are projecting. Obsession with possession. If their desire feels more like a hunt, with intensity fading once they have you, you are caught in the archetype of the chase. Sudden withdrawal. When the fantasy collapses and they see your humanity, their desire may vanish overnight. This is projection breaking apart. Seeing these signs early spares you the pain of mistaking projection for love, becoming more than a projection. The deeper work, however, is not just spotting projection in others, but ensuring you do not live as someone else's projection forever. You become more than a fantasy by embodying depth. This means integrating your own shadow, living in authenticity, and refusing to play into someone's illusions. When you live authentically, people cannot project endlessly onto you, because your reality is too strong. You show your flaws openly. You stand in your truth. You do not allow yourself to be idolized, because you know idols are always abandoned when they crack. Instead, you let yourself be seen, fully. This creates attraction rooted in reality, not fantasy. Love that survives. Possession. Jung believed true love is not blind. It sees clearly. It does not rely on projection, but on wholeness. Two individuated people do not seek completion in each other. They seek companionship, growth, and intimacy. This kind of love survives beyond desire because it does not depend on fantasy. It is built on truth. It can withstand flaws, boredom, distance, and closeness because it was never about illusion. It was always about choice. The archetype of the king and queen Jung often used archetypes to explain relationships. The immature lover burns out, but the archetypal king and queen embody sovereignty. The king does not need his queen to complete him. He is already whole. The queen does not need her king to rescue her. She is already sovereign. When these two meet, their union is not one of desperation, but of power. Desire still exists, but it does not collapse after possession. Instead, it transforms into deeper intimacy, mutual respect, and lasting devotion. This is what Jung pointed to as the sacred union, the merging of two individuated souls. How to protect yourself. If you want to stop being desired only until you're theirs, Jung's psychology offers clear guidance. Do not confuse obsession with love. Intensity in the beginning is seductive, but it is not proof of depth. Learn to wait, to watch how desire behaves after possession. Stand in your own wholeness. The more complete you are within yourself, the less likely you will tolerate being someone's projection. Wholeness repels users and attracts equals. Do you think most people ever outgrow the cycle of desire and projection? Or are they doomed to repeat it forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if this opened your eyes, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Psychatic, and share it with someone who needs to hear Jung's truth about love and desire. And if you want to support the channel, consider leaving a super thanks. Your support helps us keep sharing these hidden psychological truths. Remember Jung's wisdom. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Only those who become whole can build love that lasts. Until then, people will keep desiring you until you are theirs, and then chasing someone else.